Hello everybody. Sorry I'm late into this, but I have two important topics I have to cover. I'm trying to cover for you guys. So and I know I've been late on the channel. It's just I haven't been doing a lot, but I'm getting into the game more and more. But I'm doing my best to keep up with things and you know get up at the forefront. So if you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel because it really helps the channel a lot and helps it grow. And yeah. So let's take a look at what this is today. Studio update. Today we have made some very difficult news. Today we have some very difficult news to share. The decision has been made to end development of Transformers Reactivate. This means we will be scaling down to refocus our efforts on other projects. Unfortunately, despite every effort, a number of roles across the studio are now potentially at the risk of redundancy. This decision did not come lightly, and it is a difficult time for the studio and our people. We want to take a moment to thank the team who worked on Transformers for their dedication and passion. Hasbro was an incredible and supportive partner throughout, and we hope to work with them again. To the many fans, your excitement and support helped keep us going. While not being able to see the game through to release is painful, having to say goodbye to friends and colleagues hurts even more. We're now focused on doing everything we can to support them through this tough period, just as we are committed to caring for those who will stay with us as we build a stronger Splash Damage for the future. Thank you for your compassion and understanding. Splash Damage. Yeah, Transformers Reactivate had been actually canceled. It has been officially canceled. And I think people know why. It's because it's not kind of game people really want. People have seen the trailer for it, and it's not what people really want. It's supposed to be an online-only game, and it was supposed to be an online-only game, and the people and hold on, it was supposed to be an online-only game, and the people the fan base didn't really want that. They wanted more like one of those old single-player offline games, probably War for Cybertron, maybe the 2007 game, and they didn't like how things were going on, and the game suffered multiple delays, and it delayed so much that now this has happened. TF Reactivate has been officially canceled. Yeah. So that we're not getting a Transformers game anytime soon, I guess. But we are getting Cyberworld. Whatever that is. And, yeah. It's really a difficult time for Splash Damage, really. But, you know what's worse? What's a worser time for who? Guess who? Ubisoft! Ubisoft had an absolutely dire 2024 and desperately needs a win. And one person is not convinced Assassin's Creed Shadows is going to be it. That's an image from Assassin's Creed Shadows. Following a rough 2023, which saw Ubisoft wrestling with poor financial results, several cancellations, underperformance games, layoffs, and CEO Yves Guillemot effectively putting all the responsibility on developers rather than looking inwards, the publisher has failed to get the right ship. The publisher has failed to right the ship. 2024 was an absolutely dire year for you. 2024 was an absolutely dire year for Ubisoft. Once a powerhouse publisher, Ubisoft might still be churning out the big blockbuster games. But judging by the last couple of years, and especially 2024, it seems to be incapable of getting a win or turning things around. Even when it does release games, one would expect to be a success, but to be success. Even when it does release games, one would expect to be successes. It just doesn't seem to be able to attract players. It's hard to imagine how the last 12 months could have been worse. To give you a rough idea of how well it's been going, here's a chronological list of what's been going on at Ubisoft. Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora failed to bring in the players. Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown underperformed. Skull and Bones didn't make a splash. Yeah, Skull and Bones, people thought that was going to be people thought Skull and Bones was going to be like the new Assassin's Creed Black Flag, but it had no like swashbuckling, it had no like direct combat. There was only naval combat, and you didn't even pick up the loot yourself. Instead, you just did like that. Yeah. The Division Heartland was cancelled. Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time was pushed back to 2026. Star Wars Outlaws didn't set the galaxy on fire. Assassin's Creed Shadows was delayed until 2025. The Lost Crown team was disbanded. Oh. Ooh. X-Defiance shut down. French employees went on strike. Ubisoft is reportedly up for sale, but nobody's willing to buy it. And 744 staff have been laid off since October 2023. No, October 23. It's not great. At the heart, hold on. At the heart of the issues is the simple fact that Ubisoft's games just aren't cutting it in the sales department anymore. Even the huge open-world games that were once the publisher's bread and butter, Avatar, which launched on December 23, should have been an easy win, given the inexplicable popularity of James Cameron's middling movies. But it reportedly failed to leave a mark, at least by Ubisoft standards, and saw a significant price reduction shortly after launch. Yeah, yep. And this is Skull and Bones. This is basically what it is. Skull and Bones followed shortly after, and while Ubisoft is still maintaining it, the reception was as cold as the North Sea. After countless delays, the result was a mediocre, open-world piracy game that didn't come close to capturing the seafaring fun of its inspiration, Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Everything about it screamed that it was a game that would have been cancelled if Ubisoft didn't have a funding deal with the Singaporean government, which they did. And that's what screwed up. People doubt the updates will keep rolling in after next year. That's being this year. And people also don't think anyone had high expectations for Skull and Bones. But Star Wars Outlaws was another matter. An open-world Star Wars game starring a smuggler and her two pals, a cute critter and an old BX commando droid. It should have done gangbusters, especially since it threw out so much of Ubisoft's open-world bloat. People loved it, but it underperformed, and Ubisoft ended up pushing it out on Steam early to try and claw back some cash. Honestly, Outlaw's performance suggests that Ubisoft is just screwed. Probably is. Yeah, probably is screwed. It managed to correct a lot of the legacy issues with the publisher's open-world model, tapped into some of the coolest elements of the galaxy far, far away, and while it did have some performance issues at launch, it's a hell of a looker. It's the best thing that Ubisoft's released in ages, but not enough people cared. A vocal minority lambasted the game for being woke. Yeah, we got the woke war going on. Really? And people guess it's because it has a female protagonist? So? You could be a female and be a protagonist, you know? Or because fighting fascists is bad now? They're literally fascists. That is bad. Fighting fascists is not bad. Fighting fascists is good, because fascists are bad, you know? It's all nonsense, of course. And these toxic weirdos, yes, they are weirdos, don't have enough cachet to move the needle. So people just think players have lost faith in the company. Even when it does release something good, people are just too hesitant to open their wallets. Yeah, when you release a product so bad, like Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, people aren't just going to open their wallets for you anymore. That's a sad truth. People saw this, we've seen the same thing with Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. The Persian platformer was well received critically, and part of a series that fans had long wanted to see resurrected, but it failed to sell well. Sequel plans were scrapped, and Ubisoft disbanded the entire team. Yep, disbanded the entire team, and I don't even know if they're even laid off from Ubisoft completely or not. I'm not sure. One of the excuses reportedly wheeled out by Ubisoft to explain the scrapped sequel was that it might cannibalize sales of the original, which makes absolutely no sense at all, especially in light of the fact that The Lost Crown was the second 2D Prince of Persia to come out in 2024. The first being the Rogue Prince of Persia, an early access Regilet. Meanwhile, Ubisoft is struggling to remake 2003's Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time, a game that was announced in 2020 and was expected to appear in 2021. Now it's due in 2026, assuming Ubisoft doesn't go bankrupt. Development has already been rebooted once already, and 4 studios have been involved. If they can't figure out how to make it work after this long, people don't think we should be holding our breath. And I probably should agree more. These days, it's pretty common for big publishers to have a few live service games in their pocket to keep generating cash and prop up future game development. Square Enix, for instance, has been able to weather disappointment after disappointment thanks to Final Fantasy XIV. Ubisoft has had some success in this regard thanks to For Honor, The Division, and Rainbow Six Siege, but has been struggling to replicate this lately. In 2020, Ubisoft's attempt to get into Battle Royales launched out of the blue. Hyperscape was quickly forgotten by pretty much everyone and was killed off in 2022. The same year it launched Roller Champions, a free-to-play future sports romp that people guarantee you haven't thought about in 2 years. I had never even heard about this game. That's if you even heard of it at all. Yeah. It's still going apparently, but it's hardly a feather in Ubisoft's cap. With Skull and Bones failing to make a splash, Ubisoft's really needed X-Defiant to do the numbers. It was always going to be an uphill battle, though. A Ubisoft mascot shooter trying to compete with Call of Duty? Yeah, that's a toughie. And when you're trying to compete with Call of Duty and Star Wars Battlefront, there's a good chance you're going to lose. Jake had fun with it. I don't know who this Jake is, but it struggled to reel in players. To the point that Ubisoft started trying to tempt folk with in-game cash. Really? Amid all this, X-Defiant's executive producer claimed that the game is absolutely not dying. A few months later, Ubisoft didn't announce that it really was dying, and it's not accepting new players. Existing players can't buy anything, and it was then finally put out the pasture in 2025. Yeah, it had finally been put out the pasture in 2025. Failures to launch. At least Assassin's Creed Shadows was coming. Well, at least Assassin's Creed Shadows was coming. Folks had long been hoping for Assassin's Creed to finally make its way to Japan. But after such a rough year, Ubisoft didn't want to take any risks. Instead delaying the game until March 2025. This will enable the biggest entry in the franchise to fully deliver on its ambition, notably by fulfilling the promise of our dual protagonist adventure, with Noah with Naoi and Yasuki bringing two very different gameplay styles, Ubisoft said. And if this game flops, then Ubisoft is done. They're not going to be coming back from this. Unfortunately, it's picked the worst month of the year to launch in February. It's actually been delayed to March, though. It's been delayed to March. It's a big enough deal to compete, people reckon. Given Ubisoft's recent track record, there are probably going to be plenty of prospective players deciding to skip it in favor of Monster Hunter or Avowed or Civilization 7. Taking a wait-and-see approach, which could end up costing Ubisoft dearly. Yeah, dearly. Ubisoft's failures have also resulted in studio closures and layoffs, while French employees went on strike over a mandated return to the office policy in October. There's just no way to put a positive spin on things. Ubisoft is in serious trouble. It should come as no surprise then that shareholders are looking for a lifeboat, which may come in the form of a buyout. Yep, Ubisoft wants to be bought, wants to become private and be bought out. And shareholders aren't just willing to buy it. Shareholders are now reportedly figuring out how to structure the buyout in a way that would leave the Guillemot family remaining in charge. But apparently the second largest shareholder, Tencent, has been dragging its heels. Tencent, a Chinese company. Really. Given the huge dip in share price, down from a historical high of $85 in 2001 to a mere $13 this year, the rest of the shareholders no doubt want this to be handled quickly, even before even more dips in value. So, will 2025 be Ubisoft's year? It seems unlikely. Everything really hinges on Assassin's Creed Shadows, so we'll have a clearer picture in March, not February. If that last couple of years are any indication, though, people suspect that things are only going to get worse. Yeah, Ubisoft is in huge trouble here. They doing this and they saying that, and Ubisoft saying that the player base should at least become comfortable with not owning their games. Yeah. No wonder why all this is happening. We shouldn't even be surprised if Ubisoft went bankrupt in late 2025 and they went out of business. Because if they went bankrupt, then maybe their IPs would be sold off to I don't know, indie developers, AAA developers. I don't know. Whether it's if Ubisoft goes bankrupt, whether it's good or bad depends on whether it's good or bad depends on who those IPs get sold to, really. And if Assassin's Creed Shadows fails, then this bankruptcy might come sooner than expected. This might be the end of the road for Ubisoft, ladies and gentlemen. Activision Blizzard got gobbled by Microsoft. Ubisoft is now basically on the verge of bankruptcy, and EA is just going to be the last main AAA publisher left. Electronic Arts, ladies and gentlemen, the publisher that does everything in its power. EA does anything and everything in its power to get children to gamble their parents' life savings for rewards like Lionel Messi. Just like Take-Two. Take-Two and EA trying to get the kids that play their games to gamble them their parents' life savings. It's over for Ubisoft. And as for Transformers Reactivate, it's not that big of a deal, really. People didn't really like the game anyway because people saw it as, you know, just not being an actual Transformer game. And Splash Damage just ending all development of the game to focus on layoffs and other projects. You know, yeah. I mean, we all knew TF Reactivate was probably going to be canceled. The same thing happened with Transformers Universe. That game was also canceled for years of issues with development. This game was canceled after 7 years of development. People just gotta change with the times. So yeah, that is my CleanMurph gaming and news for today. I'm gonna try to upload more of this stuff more and more frequently as the times go on. I just gotta keep up with the news, and whatever I find on the news, I will put on this I will upload onto this channel in my own news reports. So if you like this video, please leave a like and share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel because it really helps the channel very well. And thank you for watching this video. This is CleanMurph 4005. This is CleanMurph Gaming and News, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.